Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome as Day 2 of the Hill United Chiefs Challenge Tournament continues in Simcoe, Ontario. And in today's pair of teams, both with 1-0 records, Bear Creek Express downing the New York Gremlins last night by a count of 3-1, while the Toronto BATMEN posted a 15-0 victory over the Niagara Snappers. I'm Peter Loubardias alongside Blair Stetford, and Blair, an interesting matchup, and we will see the long-time ace of the Canadian men's national team staff, and obviously a many-time all-world pitcher. In fact, he was the 2016 top pitcher at the ISC, in Sean Cleary.
Thanks, Peter, and great to be here with you this morning as we get set for the second round of action here at the Chiefs Challenge. Sean Cleary, you just said the Team Canada ace, but also, right at the top of the men's game for at least the last 10, 12 years, and he has stayed consistently at that level. A lot of guys come up and go back down again, but Sean, just a remarkable career for his consistency.
So true. One of the all-time Canadian greats, and we are set to get underway. Delighted to have you with us, no matter where you're looking on. And Cleary's first pitch misses for ball one. Sean, a longtime member of the national team, in fact, at the most recent World Championships at the end of the year in 2022, he was 3-1 with a 1.54 ERA, and a swing and a miss from the leadoff batter is Mason McKay. He's the center fielder of the BATMEN.
Mason McKay, a member of the U23 Canadian national team that finished 5th at the World Cup in Paraná in Argentina, that back in April.
And that pitch gets away and takes a bite out of the longtime national team catcher, Ryan Boland, and a little bit of a laugh.
Well, that got a piece of our home plate umpire, Mike Morrissey from Peterborough, Ontario, as well. Both of those guys back there, the veterans, and both of them don't have enough protection on for me to ever get back there.
It's the one position in this sport I was never interested in playing. And Cleary's high rise is swung on and missed. Good pitch in the inner half. Cleary's 38 years old. He's from Harbor, Maine, Newfoundland. And records his first strikeout of the day.
Harbor, Maine, just outside of St. John's, Newfoundland. Home of probably the best men's fast pitch league in the country.
Certainly that province has produced a wide amount of Canadian national team members.
Well, we often talked about the fastball factory coming out of St. John's, Newfoundland.
Ty Sebastian is the batter. The second baseman squares around but pulls back the bunt attempt on the inside pitch. Sebastian is from Brussels, Ontario. 2 for 14 in last year's ISC World Tournament. Pops this high in the air. Shortstop back and gives way to Quentin Bruce. And there are 2 down.
Ty had a bit of a rough ISC, you're absolutely right, but a stellar season and dominated at the Senior Men's Canadians last year. Ended up being named the playoff round MVPs, the BATMEN, a silver medal to the Newfoundland team, which has won about 102 out of the last 104 Canadian championships, it seems like.
Are they still the Galway Hitmen?
They are indeed.
Driven, just foul, by Corey Way, the left fielder, wearing number 91.
Corey came over to the Toronto BATMEN a couple of years ago from the Elmira Expos, and was a couple years away from the game, but has come back like gangbusters. Hit the ball really well last weekend at the IC Canada East qualifier down in Mitchell, Ontario. The Batmen finished third, upset Hill United Chiefs in a loser's bracket game, and then dropped an 8-5 decision to the Express. They led in that one, and a couple of fielding miscues. The Express erupted for a bunch of runs late.
Pitch just missing down low. Way with many years of ISC World Tournament experience. 5 by my research. All of those with the Elmira Expos. In fact, a .291 batting average during those 5 tournaments, where he went 16 for 55. And again, the rise from Cleary is a good one. Great game last night, Blair, between the Gremlins and Bear Creek. A 3-1 victory as they scored all 3 of their runs in a 5-hit top of the 3rd inning.
You and Joe Todd did a great game last night. I had a front row seat just over on the first base sidelines, and to watch the velocity of all 4 of those pitchers who threw last night, Andrew Kirkpatrick and Jack Bestgrove, as he made his ISC tournament circuit debut last night. But Riley Mannion, who started for Bear Creek, the youngster from Napanee, Ontario, as he came on, the number 3 for the Express, but he threw a gem. Probably the best game he's thrown in his life against the top-ranked Gremlins.
Well, I know that I had a conversation this morning with the great Canadian national men's team coach John Stewart, and he was delighted to see Mannion's performance against that terrific lineup. Struck out 8. The changeup punched into right. Did he get there? He did. Sensational play by Colin Walsh to end the top of the 1st inning. So a 1-2-3 inning for Sean Cleary. And Bear Creek coming to bat when we return to Simcoe.
For the latest in softball innovation, the website where you can experience the best tournaments in the Americas. Live games, news, tournaments, and much, much more. The best quality live softball. On demand, so you can watch when you want. Become a Premier member now. SoftballPremierTV.com. Live it on Softball Premier.
Welcome to Mont Hill Golf and Country Club. With our beautiful 27-hole golf course open to the public, we work tirelessly to ensure your time with us is second to none. Well, here you'll be able to enjoy an incredible dining experience at our very own Big Pete's Steakhouse. Play some of the best courses in the world with our state-of-the-art golf simulators. Upgrade your gear with the top brands at our pro shop, or host a stunning wedding, event, or conference inside one of our beautiful ballrooms. Learn all this and more at monthill.ca. We can't wait to see you soon. Welcome to Mont Hill Golf and Country Club with our beautiful
Tyler Randerson given the ball for the Toronto Batmen. He's 26 years old, from New Hamburg, Ontario. And Blair, remember when he was on his way up, he pitched for Canada at the 2014, what was then called the World Junior Championship. That was the year that great Argentine team really made a statement, not only at that event, but that group of players continued, paved the way to make that one of the best softball countries now in the world.
Yeah, Argentina really invested in their program 2012, 2014, and then the core of that team has become their senior men's team, and of course winning the World Championship in 2019 in Prague. Finished just off the medal stand in Auckland, the most recent go-around back in late November, early December 2022. Tyler Randerson, in 2016, led Canada to a bronze in Midland, Michigan at the World Junior Championship, what was then a U19 program. And he has kind of resurrected his career here the last year and a bit. Took some time away from the game to become an established firefighter. Got his career established. I thought he threw exceptional last weekend at the ISC Canada East qualifier, helping to lead the BATMEN to that third-place finish.
Well, he's just 26 years of age, so plenty of time to reassert himself. And he'll face one of the younger stars in many ways of the Canadian men's national team, Quentin Bruce, coming off a marvelous world championship in New Zealand. 20. Did have a hit in last night's win over the New York Gremlins and takes ball 1.
Well, you talk about rising stars in the game. Quentin Bruce, nobody's star is brighter right now. He was All-Canadian at the Canadian National Championship, All-American at the American National Championship, and then All-World at both the ISC and the WBSC. Never been done before, to the best of our knowledge, in the history of the game.
Well, my first real viewings of him came at the World Championship, and I was absolutely blown away. He is a terrific, what I would call, Blair, contact hitter. Hits the ball to all fields, sprays one here, and is going to have his first base hit of the day, and it's going to be a double. Bruce running all the way on the ball that was popped over the shortstop into shallow left. And Bruce with a leadoff double for the Bear Creek Express.
Well, for any younger viewers, this is what separates the top players from everybody else. On a little flare just over the head of the shortstop, Quentin Bruce running hard right out of the box, never stopped, put his head down, and turned what could be just somebody else, could just jog to first base, content with the hit. He turns it into a double, and he's in scoring position right away.
Tyler Pauli, the batter, at second base, and he made a brilliant play late in the game against the Gremlins. Another member of the current Canadian men's national team. He's 27 years of age, from Mitchell, Ontario. Didn't play a lot at the Worlds. He's an up-and-comer. Was 0 for 2 officially at the plate, and had a good cut on the Randerson pitch there.
With these two teammates for the last several years with the Nith River Monsters that played out of New Hamburg. Some of them went with Tyler up to this Bear Creek Express team, and a bunch of others migrated to the Toronto BATMEN. So a lot of familiarity here.
Randerson missing outside. Paulie was 4 for 17 with a .235 batting average at last year's ISC World Tournament.
Well, it's a down year for Tyler in his short career in the ISC. He's already won 2 batting titles.
Did so with a .545 average in 2021. This is a very good Bear Creek Express team. And the umpire calling time. No score. Bottom of the first, both teams sporting records of 1-0 in this 8-team tournament. And it's a great field here, Blair. Very impressed when I saw the schedule come out and knowing what type of competition was going to be on display.
We had the top 4 teams in the world in the ISC rankings: New York Gremlins, Niagara Stompers, Bear Creek Express, Hill United Chiefs. There's your top 4. Toronto BATMEN, bit of a fluke, didn't have their roster in on time, so weren't included in the rankings, but they'd be in my top 8 for sure. And then you throw the always competitive Elmira Expos, the Oswegan Redmen, who are a tough team.
Paulie, a high drive, has a chance, and it is gone. Tyler Pauli to center field, a 2-run homer. And the Bear Creek Express jump out on top.
Well, Randerson got too much of the plate with that pitch, and Tyler Pauli put a real good swing on it, and straight away center field. You could just tell a bit of a moonshot from Pauli, got absolutely all of it.
Colin Walsh, the batter, had a huge go-ahead 2-run double last night in the win over the Gremlins, and has already made a fine play in this game out in right field.
Oh, here's a guy who's been the MVP of the St. John's League the last couple of years that they've played coming back out of the pandemic. Played his way back onto Team Canada, was on the team in 2017, left off in 2019, and that is, amongst other things, a great motivator for a number of players to work their way back onto the national team. Colin Walsh, Justin Schofield, two guys who managed to do that.
30 years of age and at a quality world championship did Colin Walsh. He was 6 for 20 in the event, batted .300, drove in 5, and had a couple of home runs. Just 30 years of age, which in many cases, Blair, for people tuning in, feel like that's right in this sport when you're getting to your prime. Is that fair, or has that age started to dip a little for you?
I think you were right on that. I think kind of the 25 to 35 are really your peak years in last pitch.
3 balls and a strike to Walsh as Pauli has gone deep. His first of the tournament. And it's 2-0 Bear Creek as Randerson trying to find his way. And just misses the zone. And Walsh draws a no-out walk.
Tough start here for Tyler Randerson, not the way he would have liked to get this one underway, and no prize here with Travis Jones in the cleanup spot for the Express. Lots of pop with Travis.
And Jones played last year with the Toronto BATMEN. So facing his old group.
Yeah, he's been with the BATMEN for about 3-4 years and then made the switch over to the Express for this season. Felt that just one step up the rung on the ladder might give him an opportunity.
The shortstop made a couple of key plays last night in the win.
Quentin Bruce, Tyler Pauli, Travis Jones, all the most recent winners of the ISC Canada East Player of the Year award the last few years. Those 3 guys have won it over the last 5 years.
Randerson missing outside. Blair, in all the time that you've watched Randerson, when he's at his best, what's he doing well?
Well, he works quickly when he's at his best. He's able to get his rise ball over just up and out of the zone to get guys to swing underneath it. And right now, the rise ball looks like it's catching too much out of the zone, and guys are squaring it up pretty good.
Well, certainly the Pauli drive to center for the game's first strike, the home run, seemed to flatten out a little in the zone. Walsh, the runner, on the ground, and another base hit. So Bear Creek swinging it well, and we already have activity up in the BATMEN pen.
Yeah, Dustin Wienhoff, the big lefty for Toronto, just got up and just started to throw. I glanced down there after the home run, but this is just in the last 90 seconds that Dustin Wienhoff has gotten up. And there's Scott Perry out for a mound visit right now.
And we'll see if he's going to make a change, as Randerson still yet to record an out. Three hits and a walk as Bear Creek threatens to blow this game wide open in the bottom of the first.
Well, they're giving them lots of time, and they're going to have to replace first base. So this plays into Toronto's favor here. It gives Dustin Wienhoff opportunity to get ready. And they've had a bit of trouble with the bases here. This happened last night where the base comes loose from the peg that's there. Happened at third base last night as well. So advantage Toronto. Scott Perry has been out there now for plenty of time for the BATMEN, and Mike Morrissey is giving him a long rope.
It looks like Randerson's going to stay and have an opportunity to work his way out.
Well, my guess is he either gets an out here or that'll be it.
Wienhoff, as you mentioned, warming up, played in Elmira most recently. Made the transformation. And this is longtime Canadian national team member Jason Hill from St. John's, Newfoundland. And the Hill family, very prominent in the sport. As he fouls it back to the screen. First World Championship, Blair, I believe, all the way back in 2013. So a fixture on the national men's team program.
And a fixture with the Hill United Chiefs for the last 10 years, with 5 ISC World Championships, with the retirement of his longtime running mate, Steve Mullally. Jason took the opportunity to come over to Bear Creek. He's never played on the tournament circuit with Sean Cleary and Ryan Boland, and an opportunity to play with those guys was the allure to come over to the Express.
38 years of age, has done it all. World champion, Pan Am gold medalist, ISC titles. Been a great career. And haven't had a chance to spend any time with him, but I hear nothing but rave reviews. Although, can you meet anybody who's not kind from that particular area in our country? Talking about Newfoundland and Labrador. Beautiful people in the eastern part of Canada. If you've never been, I highly recommend it.
Make the journey, folks. It is absolutely worth it.
It absolutely is. And even better humans. Randerson just missed. Hill hit a ball really hard last night that Zenon Winters tracked down and right on the screws.
Early in his career, Jason was a dead pull hitter. The last few years, he has expanded his game to go over to center and left. But
stays with that drop ball.
You miss inside with Jason Hill, and it will be deposited out into right field.
Well, he was an all-world performer at the ISC in 07, 08, and 09.
Yeah, at one point he had in the top 10 lifetime batting averages. It's dipped a little bit over the years, but 2015, a big hit in the championship game against the Toronto Gators. Put Hill United into the lead.
Randerson misses with the rise.
And then most recently, 2021, top of the 7th inning, Jason Hill, bases loaded. Double to the fence, clears the bases. Hill United would claim their 5th ISC world title.
You mentioned a down year for them in 2022, but they are back. Hill underneath it. High pop-up. Should be handled. And it's an infield fly to begin with, so the batter was out. As Randerson records his first out here in the bottom of the first.
I heard somebody say last night about those high infield flies. That's a home run on a phone booth.
Yeah, a big phone booth, I might add. Ryan Boland has already gone deep in the event. Got his team on the board, down 1-0 with a rocket to left center. Went the other way and hit it over the second fence. Another member of the Canadian men's national team.
Ryan has historically hit Andrew Kirkpatrick fairly well, so even though it's a lefty-lefty matchup, not a surprise that he took one out of the yard. Seen him do that before a couple of times off of Kirkpatrick.
This one is going to make its way out of play.
Yeah, Ryan upset with himself. They didn't do more with that pitch. Got one that he liked, and a bit of a grimace.
If I had to describe and not the Philadelphia Flyer mascot.
I might go with intense.
I actually probably like that better, but he's a gritty player.
He absolutely is.
I like guys with grit.
Yeah, 100% effort every time, every game.
Randerson's pitch, a good changeup, swung on and missed, and Randerson doing a nice job to try to keep the damage at just 2. On the topic of great softball families in Canada, Kyle Ezekiel, one of 3.
Well, we had a look at big brother Brad in the Hill United game that we just came off of. Hill United Chiefs 8-0 winners over the Oswego Redmen. Bradley, a typical day at the plate, couple of hits, couple runs scored, leading off for Hill United. Kyle, the youngest of the 3.
Kyle, 34. Hometown listed as Holyrood, Newfoundland. Played in 4 of recent ISCs. In terms of statistical data, the guide and record book is terrific. Goes back really to 2015. Some great numbers. Of course, this sport goes all the way back to, I believe, the year 1980 in terms of the first World Tournament. Maybe even earlier than that.
Well, 1947, the first ISC World Tournament, and I know the pages you're talking about as the managing editor in the guide, and those are just the winning and losing pitchers, but you can go back all the way to 1947, and the first ISC World Tournament in Phoenix, Arizona. Did you know that Eddie Feiner pitched World Tournament game?
I did not know that. I was able to watch Eddie in his early 50s as the pitcher of the King in his court, which was an interesting phenomenon. Randerson, tough play. And Ezekiel beat it out. Randerson did well. Strong throw to first, not quite in time, and the bases are loaded.
Yeah, that was a 50-50 play for Randerson. That may have gone foul, but it may not have. So you want to take the opportunity to try and get the out where you can. It was a strong throw, but just a half step behind.
Well, here's the viral sensation of men's fast pitch softball. He's Jordan Pomeroy. Last weekend in Mitchell, Ontario, if you haven't found it, I would suggest that you do. It is one of the greatest catches in this sport I have ever seen.
Just an absolutely unbelievable play from Jordan Pomeroy. The reaction from him and from Colin Walsh is like it happens every day. But you and I both know the degree of difficulty in that play.
Well, he caught a ball, if you have not witnessed it, where he was lying behind the center field fence. He literally went over top of it to make the catch. And I had to watch it 2 more times last night before I went to bed. So I'm up to 40. I'm keeping track from here on in. It was just magnificent.
Well, you're about 40 of the 2 million views of this clip now. And Jordan Pomeroy made the grab. His hip hit the top of that 6-foot fence, cartwheeled over, hung onto the ball, and they just nonchalantly flipped it, coming back over the fence like he does it every day.
It was brilliant with a capital B, and he's trying to cash in here with the bases loaded, and he'll do just that. Walsh scores. Jones scores. And on cue, Pomeroy not only can catch it, he can hit it. And he has a 2-run RBI single, and the lead has grown to 4. And that is going to do it for Tyler Randerson. He's able to get a couple. But then the chopper base hit by Ezekiel, and Pomeroy through the middle of the diamond. Cashes in 2 more. No change, Blair. I thought with the visit, they might make a change. but Randerson remains in. And Brandon Horn, the batter. He's no stranger to ISC competition. And rips this. Ezekiel scores, and the difference is 5. As Horn gets involved with an RBI single.
When Jordan Pomeroy goes coast to coast, first to third, he was hot on the heels of Kyle Ezekiel, who scored. Pomeroy only 2 steps behind him by the time they came around towards third.
So they have batted around the Express in the bottom of the first. Quentin Bruce got it going with a pop-up in behind short that he turned into a leadoff double with his great speed. So he's 1 for 1 in the game. He has 2 hits now in the tournament. The 27-year-old from Grand Valley, Ontario.
Quentin's going to have a rooting interest at the ISC World Tournament, too. His hometown Grand Valley Expos qualified out of the Ontario Challenge Cup last fall. They'll make their debut in the ISC World Tournament, Denmark, Wisconsin.
And Bruce a swing and a miss on a good change. Great event. Been to it a number of times. I guess the last time I would have attended was its last visit to Kitchener, Ontario.
2018.
2018, the Gremlins were the champions.
Terrific ending, that one, if you were a Gremlins fan. Matt Palazzo pinch hitting. Needed 2 runs for the run rule. Matt Palazzo, which came out of his shoes, tied them back up, and hit a monster walk-off for the Gremlins. A personal highlight for Matt Palazzo in his career.
Yeah, I think I was on my way to the parking lot when it left the bat. Bruce goes down swinging, but a great one for Bear Creek as they put up a 5 spot in the top of the first and lead it 5-0 over the Toronto BATMEN in this matchup of teams with 1-0 records.
Welcome to Mont Hill Golf and Country Club. With our beautiful 27-hole golf course open to the public, we work tirelessly to ensure your time with us is second to none. Well, here you'll be able to enjoy an incredible dining experience at our very own Big Pete's Steakhouse. Play some of the best courses in the world with our state-of-the-art golf simulators. Upgrade your gear with the top brands at our pro shop, or host a stunning wedding, event, or conference inside one of our beautiful ballrooms. Learn all this and more at monthill.ca. We can't wait to see you soon.
Beautiful look at Niagara Falls. A must if you've never been. Lake Simcoe is pretty nice as well. I wouldn't say it's one of the 8 wonders of the world, but I do love the area very much.
Cottage country.
Cody Skelton, the batter, leading things off for the Batman. And he is not cheated on the swing.
Cody put this team together several years back. Opportunity for he and a lot of his good friends to start an ISC team. The support of the Skelton family. Mom Cheryl, Dad Mike.
Remember Cody actually coming up through the junior ranks. Prominent player. He's from Claremont, Ontario. And when Sean Cleary is at his best, location is superb. And you saw a little evidence of that with the strikeout pitch that had Skelton watching strike 3. And it's strikeout number 2 of the day.
Well, I talk about this a lot with Sean and Ryan. Every pitch has a purpose, and it's setting up not just the next pitch, but 1, 2, or 3 later in the sequence. And they really are playing chess out there, the two of them.
Making others feel like they're playing checkers. Denny Benson didn't quite get all of it and will fly out to Colin Walsh. He, as the phrase goes, just missed it.
Well, Denny Benson is one of the game's younger bright lights. He hits the ball hard. He hits it far. He's a guy that is on the Team Canada radar, and I think he'll be there before too long.
He's from Rama First Nation. Part of that Owen Sound Selects program. As Adam Long steps in. 2 down. And Cleary's change misses. Adam Long's from Kitchener. Was 1 for 6 in last year's ISC World Tournament with a home run. On the ground, past Jones, and the first base hit of the game for the Batmen belongs to Adam Long.
Travis Jones has done a pretty good job at shortstop for the Express over the last couple of tournaments. David Galino, who is a national team player for Venezuela, and I think he is at that Central American Championship down in Salvador, so he's not made the trip the last couple of weeks for the Express. He'll be there out of region exemption, I'm presuming, for the ISC World Tournament. A pickup from the San Antonio Glowworm squad last year, and I think he'll round out the Express really nicely at the shortstop spot. But Jonesy's been doing a real good job there the last couple of weekends.
Galino was the top newcomer, if I'm not mistaken, at the ISC World Tournament last year.
Yeah, San Antonio just kept surprising teams, finished in the top 10. Last year was their inaugural appearance at the ISC World Tournament, and to say that they were thrilled with the way that things worked out would be an understatement.
Ball gets away from Boland. Wild pitch from Cleary as the batter is Isaiah Whetstone. He's from Embro, Ontario.
Just while we're talking about San Antonio, they've got a tournament of their own going on down there this weekend, doing their own streaming. There's a post on ISC Fast Pitch on Facebook and on Twitter with the link in between games. Don't leave us. Maybe put it on a second screen, and you can watch Fast Pitch from Texas as well.
Can be like Luciano. He's got 63 screens going on over there. Never seen anything like it. Been around broadcasting for 4 decades. Never seen a guy run a drone, 4 computer screens, the scoreboard, trying to keep us on track, which might be his toughest job of all. Wife up on one dugout shooting. This guy's got it going on.
He is a one-man truck.
He is a one-man truck. And Whetstone goes down swinging. Cleary has his 3rd strikeout of the game. And through an inning and a half, the Bear Creek Express lead the Toronto Batmen by a count of 5-0 here in Simcoe. A look into the stands. Weather kind of in and out here so far. But a great day. Very good temperature. Look at that. I forgot to add, Luciano also a weatherman.
22 degrees Celsius here. It's actually a little bit sticky here in Simcoe with the humidity in the air. The sun has disappeared behind some of the clouds for now. We were blessed with a little bit of sunshine earlier this morning. But the fact that we're even playing ball right now, Peter, is good news, because when I looked at the weather forecast a couple of days ago, it was looking pretty wet and damp.
Me too. I did everything I could to throw it out to the universe to keep it as dry as possible. I didn't want to miss out on this opportunity. Tyler Pauli is not missed on his opportunity. His first at-bat produced the game's first 2 runs. A 2-run homer. The new pitcher is Dustin Wienhoff. Little geography for you, Mr. Ontario, which I am not. Do you know where Kemble, Ontario is?
He's up near Owen Sound, Wyerton area, up in the Grey Bruce Peninsula.
See, I knew you'd have the answer.
I only know that because Dustin Wienhoff goes all the way back to, I want to say, 2009, pitching with the Port Elgin Blue Devils. Port Elgin up near Sauble Beach.
Port Elgin, I know. Kemble, do not. And a good start for Wienhoff as he induces Pauli to fly out to left.
He spent some time with the Elmira Expos, as you mentioned earlier, also with the Wyerton Nationals, pitched in the ISC 2 championship game a few years back.
By the way, as this broadcast continues, really want to pick your brain on a couple of items as far as the ISC is concerned. They're trying to grow. It's always been a wonderful organization. Attended my first ISC World Tournament in my hometown of Saskatoon all the way back in the year 1987 when Michael White pitched Teleconnect to the title. In many ways, it was a tournament where Brad Underwood of Owen Sound, that was my first viewing of that left arm, which is as big as most ball diamonds. And he was absolutely sensational. And then Saskatoon, the very next year, as Colin Walsh draws a walk, played host to the then ISF World Men's Championship, won by the United States thanks to 2 pitchers from New Zealand, one by the name of Peter Meredith. Travis Jones hit hard towards a gap. Walsh is going to get the wave, and Travis Jones has an RBI double. And Bear Creek extends its lead to 6-0.
Well, Travis Jones, plenty of familiarity with Dustin Wienhoff. It's a tough spot to be for Wienhoff to come in and have to face Jones right away. They've probably had 178 career at-bats against each other, so no secrets there.
No, and Jones the winner in this go-around as he cashes in run number 6. Jason Hill, his second at-bat, he flew out to right. In the 5-run bottom of the first, where his team batted around. Blair, I can't imagine that Jason Hill will not remain in the game for a long time in some capacity.
Well, I think this is going to give him some second life, if you will. He's energized to be over here with this Bear Creek team, and an opportunity to help lead them to an ISC World Championship would just be some icing on the cake, or maybe even the cherry on top of the icing on the cake for Jason Hill.
Well, for a guy who's absolutely won everything in the sport that it has to offer. High in the air, in foul territory, and Hill retired for the second time this morning. Or although, have we reached the afternoon quite yet? Not quite.
Not quite. We got about 10 more minutes there. You go back to 2015 and what Jason Hill and Steve Mullally, Bradley Ezekiel did, I don't know if it'll ever be duplicated. They won the WBSC gold medal. They won a Pan Am Games gold medal. They won the U.S. National Championship. They won the ISC World Championship. And to cap it off, they won the Canadian National Championship. 5 for 5 in gold medals that season.
The greatest single season in the sport ever for those gentlemen. Longtime friends. Ryan Boland, a part of at least the World Championship team.
Yeah, he picked up a couple of those golds with the Canadians, the WBSC, and the Pan Am Games, and of course that infamous ending to the Pan Am Games gold medal game with Ryan and the Venezuelan player. A bit of an unfortunate ending.
I was at that game in Ajax, Ontario. A brilliant performance that day by Sean Cleary, who might have had his best international tournament in 2015, and he's had a lot of them. But he was sparkling. And we'll also never forget the blow that won it for Canada, which was Bradley Ezekiel's 2-run home run. And Boland thrown out at first. So just the 1 run. Good job by Veenhoff, who comes in to replace Randerson. And we are through 2 complete here in Simcoe with Bear Creek in command, leading it 6-0.
For the latest in softball innovation, the website where you can experience the best tournaments in the Americas. Live games, news, tournaments, and much, much more. The best quality live softball, on demand so you can watch when you want. Become a Premier member now. SoftballPremierTV.com. Live it on Softball Premier.
Welcome to Monthill Golf and Country Club. With our beautiful 27-hole golf course open to the public, we work tirelessly to ensure your time with us is second to none. Well, here you'll be able to enjoy an incredible dining experience at our very own Big Pete's Steakhouse. Play some of the best courses in the world with our state-of-the-art golf simulators. Upgrade your gear with the top brands at our pro shop, or host a stunning wedding, event, or conference inside one of our beautiful ballrooms. Learn all this and more at monthill.ca. We can't wait to see you soon. Welcome.
Derek Hyde to lead things off for the Toronto Batmen, requiring a rally, and not easy to do against Sean Cleary.
Peter, recent podcast, Dust Up, Ryan Boland was a guest and talked about the catching experience. And he said what he wants over the next couple of years is for the next Team Canada catcher, whoever it's going to be. And Derek Hyde, I think, is a guy who could be in that mix. The young McKay kid here, too, is another guy who could be in that mix. But Ryan is looking for somebody to come to him and say, teach me everything you can. Give me your black book, so to speak, about all the batters and everybody. And so far, nobody, I don't think, has taken him up on that offer. But I think Derek Hyde is a guy defensively, certainly, who's got all the tools.
Hyde 3 for 11 in last year's ISC World Tournament. Batted .273 at a triple. What do you tell me about Universidad Nacional?
So that is a Argentina team from Venezuela, and they put together a team of the students and some players from the Buenos Aires area. Fast pitch mostly is played in Paraná, which is Entre Rios in the northern part of the country. It's really almost exclusively played there.
Hyde on one bounce, Hill, and Hyde has good speed.
Yeah, runs very well. And that's the disadvantage of not having the safe base over there is both guys are going for the white bag. Jason Hill, his momentum is carrying him across, and then he's got to stop short so he doesn't run into the runner. That's why I prefer to see the safe base over there. Both of them are going for different targets.
Mitch McKay, the batter. One of two McKays on the team.
Both of them appearing for Team Canada at the U23 World Cup. Again, Canada, 5th place finish there. Jack Besgrove dominated that tournament for Australia, beating Japan 1-0 in the championship game. Japan only trailed twice in the tournament, and it was only in the final inning of the final 2 games that they played. The second last game that they played was kind of irrelevant because they were in the gold medal game no matter what. And then they trailed. They lost that game in the 7th, ultimately, to Australia.
Mitch McKay was 5 for 17 at the U23 World Championship in Argentina.
Offensively at that tournament. That was probably one of the better line numbers for Canada too, unfortunately. Riley Mannion, Jordan Hudson, Reese Yancey, the 3 pitchers for Team Canada, threw the ball well enough, but they just did not get the offensive support.
I don't remember a Canadian national team struggling at the plate in an international event quite like that one.
Yeah, and they hit the ball well against the U.S. in some pre-tournament games in Florida. They hit the ball well in some exhibition games that they played once they got down to Venezuela, but just went ice cold.
And a strikeout for Cleary. That's number 4, I believe, by
Peter just in between batters on the second diamond. New York Gremlins up 2-1 on the Niagara Snappers. That game's in the top of the 4th inning. Pablo Migliavaca pitching for the Gremlins. Todd Babinski for the Snappers. Brian Belisle had a home run for the Snappers to get their run on the board, rebounding from that tough loss they had last night, and hopefully a little bit more competitive today.
Yeah, they were knocked around by the Toronto BATMEN 15-0 in that game. The Snappers, second appearance for the other McKay on Team Canada. Mason struck out back in the top of the 1st. Change up and a good one. A 1-2-3 inning for Sean Cleary in Bear Creek as they are comfortably in front, leading 6-0 in a matchup of teams here at the Hill United Chiefs Challenge with records of 1-0.
Peter, as we come back from break, our umpires for the game, there's Mike Morrissey from Peterborough, Ontario. Behind the dish, over at first base, is Kevin Wallace from Shipman, Illinois. And then Mike DeBrew from Brampton, Ontario, out at third. The third team on the diamond, the Blue Crew.
Dallas Cornelius, the batter, taking over that designated player spot from Kyle Ezekiel. And Dustin Vienoff in his second inning of work. Came on in relief of the starter, Tyler Randerson. Cornelius pops up, there is room, and Hyde hauls it in for out number one.
If he got any closer to us, Peter, we're going to have to make room for him on the bench here.
And there's not a lot of extra room.
No, there is not. We are crowded in. Luciano and his 5 screens.
If only I understood Italian better. I would love to get just the full rundown on how he put this whole program together. We're going to have another opportunity to work together in a couple of weeks when the Canada Cup Women's International Tournament can be found on Softball Premier TV. I am beyond excited about being involved in that event for a second straight year.
Well,
and
not only
it's
that,
a very good field.
Not only that, but you and I will get the opportunity
Yes.
to do the Senior Men's Canadians coming up in the last week of August at Softball City in Surrey, British Columbia. And that'll be the home of the IC World Tournament 2024. Two big events on the men's calendar, plus, of course, the women's side of the Canada Cup.
Pomeroy down the line, but quality play over at shortstop. As Mitch McKay does a nice job delivering it over in time. 2 away for Brandon Horn, who drove in a run with an RBI single in the 5-run bottom of the first. And he's 2 for 2.
And that is what Brandon Horn does. He hits the ball back up the middle just about every time. Immaculate in the field. Took a couple of years off from 2018. Everybody took a couple of years off in 2020 and 2021, but back on the diamond in 22, like he didn't miss a beat. Another all-world acclamation, and Brandon Horn back in the national team pool as well.
The Vienoff pitch gets away, no chance for Hyde. And Horn scampers up to second on the wild pitch. Quentin Bruce, 1 for 2 on the day, struck out his last time. Opened the game with a pop double to left, where he used his terrific speed to leg it out and scored the first of 5 Bear Creek Express runs. This 8-team tournament will conclude tomorrow. Semifinals slated at both diamonds for 10, and the championship game to follow. Already looking forward to coming back up the highway tomorrow for those 2 time slots.
I'm just excited about a 10 a.m. time slot. Get to sleep in a little bit on a Sunday. Normally, Joe Todd and I are at the park by about 7:30 a.m. on Sundays.
Well, personally, I want to thank you and Joe, for the opportunity, but more importantly, I love this sport very, very much and have since I was a young. You guys do such a wonderful job, whether it's broadcasting, the work you do with the ISC, Canada East, and overall. And what people don't realize is the type of hours voluntarily that go in, and it's done for the love and passion. And in our world today, there's not as much done as I would like, Blair, in regards to love and passion. So I want to thank you truly from the bottom of my heart for all the work in keeping this great game going and present and prevalent. And as somebody who grew up in Saskatoon in the 70s and 80s, always felt like in many ways, and not just because I grew up there, but the game was very different then. And I'm not sure it's ever going back to some of those levels as Bruce strikes out, but it's too good a game with too many good people not to take another step. So thank you for all your great efforts.
Well, thank you for those very kind words on behalf of Joe and myself. You hit the nail on the head. It is a labor of love.
Hit a little bit more than the other. Bear Creek leads by 6.
Welcome to Mont Hill Golf and Country Club. With our beautiful 27-hole golf course open to the public, we work tirelessly to ensure your time with us is second to none. Well, here you'll be able to enjoy an incredible dining experience at our very own Big Pete's Steakhouse. Play some of the best courses in the world with our state-of-the-art golf simulators. Upgrade your gear with the top brands at our pro shop, or host a stunning wedding, event, or conference inside one of our beautiful ballrooms. Learn all this and more at monthill.ca. We can't wait to see you soon.
Quick look at the umpiring crew once again. Is it getting harder and harder to find umpires, or where do things sit in the ISC where that's concerned?
We have a great pool of umpires. What does concern me is, and this is endemic across the game, is the age group. Bringing new umpires in. There's some talent that we continue to find, and that's one of the directives actually that Joe Todd and I have here in Ontario is let's get some more younger umpires, and we did that last weekend in Mitchell. Bring some youth into the event, and we had 3 or 4 newer umpires at the top level. They've been doing the kids games and moving up, and now they're graduating into the top men's events. And that is something that you have to do organizationally, is make sure that you keep replenishing that depth.
Ty Sebastian, the batter. He flew out to left in his first appearance. Sean Cleary with 4 strikeouts.
You talk about sporting officials. Ty is actually one of the highly rated up-and-coming hockey referees. He referees in the junior loops here in Ontario. I'm not sure if he's in the OHL, but I believe he's in the like the junior A loop.
Good movement. And strikeout number 5 of the day for Sean Cleary. Cleary, by the way, in ISC World Tournament since 2015 has 394 strikeouts against 61 walks and a 25-9 record. Top pitcher, which you will remember well, Blair, back in 2016 at the ISC World Tournament.
Yeah, Sean leading the Toronto Gators to the title that year. Just about stuck that very valuable right hand into the path of that one and thought twice about it.
Corey Way with a base hit. Just the second of the game given up by Cleary, who has had a lot of no-nos in his time, both of the 5, 6, and 7 variety.
Yeah, if memory serves, Sean's got 4 no-hitters in the ISC World Tournament. Most recently picked one up last year, game that Joe and I did against AWP Lumberjacks.
Where is their home?
They are out of DuQuoin, Illinois, which is southern Illinois. They're playing this weekend over in Walcott, Iowa. There's another tournament going on there, including the Fargo Kegel Black Knights. AHI Reapers are there. So lots of fastball around North America.
You talked earlier about umpires and young umpires. Where are you in relevance to the amount of young up-and-coming players participating in this sport at the highest level?
One of the things that Joe and I have done the last couple of years, we've added a U20 division to our qualifier championship. It used to be a U23, but we decided to take it down an age group to U20 because we want, well, one, a lot of the U23 players are playing on the men's teams, but we wanted to give the exposure.
Skelton, and coming over in a hurry was Pomeroy. He covers a lot of ground.
We wanted to give the exposure of those U20 players to the ISC players and let them see firsthand on an up-close and personal basis the steps that they're going to need to take. And they're the ones that are going to come on and push the existing players. There's a number of good players that are coming, and this U23 gives them that extra step to get into the men's game. We saw Riley Mannion, of course, from the U23 team. Are there guys behind him that's going to step up to the national team?
Steal attempt. And Bolin throws him out. Terrific tag by Travis Jones. There's Corey Way thrown out, trying to steal. We have played 3.5, and the Bear Creek Express in command, leading it 6-0 here on day 2 of the Hill United Chiefs Challenge in Simcoe, Ontario. The umbrellas are out. A little rain falling, and I don't think it's going to go away. It's a lot of in and out I'm expecting, Blair. I'm not a weatherman like Luciano.
Well, it's about right on cue from the one weather app that we looked at this morning. They said it might start to sprinkle a little bit around noon, and we're 14 minutes after by my Mickey.
Tyler Pauli got it all going with a 2-run homer back in the bottom of the first. Then he was facing the starter, Tyler Randerson. Dustin Veenhoff has come on in relief and has performed well. The Batmen will stay and play next as well. Pauli, foul ball. As they'll be involved in the next game on this diamond. They play back-to-back.
Just had the weather bug up to about a 90% chance of rain.
Pauli stays with it, and a fair ball. He's on his way to second. And Tyler Pauli having a day. 2 for 3 with a 2-run homer, and now a double as that just stayed fair down the left field line.
Yeah, you saw in the replay, he just stuck the bat out, poked that down the left side, and got on his horse for the double.
Bottom of the fourth. Walsh on one hop, a look back, and the throw is completed for out number 1. Is Adam Long.
Well, good play there by Adam, too, just to freeze Tyler Pauli at second base and flip over. You see the umbrellas now back on the shoulder, so maybe that was just a temporary sprinkle.
Travis Jones, 2 for 2 today. This is the shortstop. I believe by my scoring, maybe it's off. 2 for 2. Blair, always have to check with Blair. Why wouldn't you? Make it 3 for 3. Pauli trots in easily. And on the topic of players having a good day, don't forget to mention Travis Jones. Another run batted in and an extra base hit as he's 3 for 3 with a couple of runs batted in and a double.
Well, he'll get the high fives as he gets back to the bench. They got a pinch runner out there for Travis Jones. I can't see what number. Oh,
25.
Number 25.
I think that's Mike Walker.
No, Noah Baker.
Noah Baker.
Yeah, Mike Walker's 23. And I think Mikey Walker's gone up to Colburn for the Team Ontario identification.
He
camp.
did. I met him last night, actually, as they're already getting set for the Canada Summer Games. That's where he was off to today. Chatted with him and his father on the way out of the ballpark last night. So good luck in that process. The next Canada Summer Games coming up in the year 2025. Last year, delayed because of COVID. Both men's and women's fast pitch softball, part of the resume that was staged in Niagara. Jason Hill looking for his first hit of the day. Popped up to first as last time and misses the Veenhoff drop for a strike.
You saw Derek Hyde make a snap throw down to second base. Noah Baker got picked off at second last night. You would not want to get picked off at second twice in the same tournament.
What if you want to go out there again?
That would be a fine.
Yeah, and a fine spot on the bench.
Yes.
Good swing by Hill. Hill batting .238 with 8 home runs and 33 runs batted in his last 7 ISC World Tournaments. It's 0 for 6 for Canada at the recently completed World Championships in New Zealand. There's another country I must make my way to for a softball event before I leave the earth.
Yeah, that's on, I think, just about every softball fan's bucket list. That 0 for 6 is a little bit misleading for Jason in the warm-up tournament in the very first game.
And he has a here. And it's an RBI single for the veteran, Jason Hill.
In the very first game in the warm-up tournament, Jason was coming home on a pass ball, got tagged, pushed from behind, and fell and actually fractured his wrist, or the back of his hand, and tried to gut it out, get taped up every day, had those 6 at-bats, but he was basically trying to swing one-handed. And unfortunate for Jason. Worked a walk, though, in that championship game, a veteran's at-bat from Jason.
The championship game was a 5-2 setback at the hands of Jack Besgrove. Boy, it was exciting to watch him with my own 2 eyes last night as he came in relief for the New York Gremlins. Gets away from Hyde, and Hill trots up to second on the wild pitch from Veenhoff.
Well, Toronto has got to close the door here because right now they're in that precarious position where in the top of the 5th they're going to need to push a couple of runs across to extend this game. You don't want to let this get any further out of hand. You've already got to score at least 2 to keep the game going.
Yeah, the 7-run rule after 5. Ryan Boland looking to extend it and more than capable of doing so. Does not have a hit today. He's 0 for 2. Grounded out to short his last time up. Finds the inside corner. I love watching Boland play. His mannerisms, the questions he asks. You're right. I'm changing from gritty to intense myself.
I got to see Ryan up close 14, 15, and 16 with the Toronto Gators. I don't know that there's anybody who is a born leader as Ryan Boland is. Just takes charge of the teams that he is on and drags them kicking and screaming by the scruff of the neck to a higher level, because that's where he wants to be.
Yeah, he never met a game he didn't like.
That's right.
Or wasn't ready for. It's my kind of guy. And I don't dislike his passport either, I must say. I know that won't make everybody happy today, but as a proud Canadian and lover of all team sports with the Maple Leaf, it's been great to have him on that ride in this sport for a long time. His ball hit him. And he finds himself on base for the first time today.
Creek. Number 7, Dallas Cornelius.
Cornelius entered the game in place of Kyle Ezekiel. He's 0 for 1. Batted in the last inning in the third. And fouls this away.
Heads up.
Dallas caught the championship game in the Canada East qualifier last weekend in Mitchell and did an exceptional job with Riley Mannion and Colin Walsh, who pitched for the Express in that championship game against the Niagara Stompers. And that's his role with this team. He'll be behind Ryan Boland, obviously, in the catching depth chart. But he has to be ready to step in when Ryan needs a game off, and you can't just drop, from this level to that level. He's got to be near as he can be to that same level, and he's brought his game up considerably the last couple of years.
Leanoff misses out. Hill at second after an RBI single, and Boland, his longtime running mate. Couple of Newfoundlanders at first after being hit by a pitch. And Cornelius goes down swinging for out number 2.
He should go run. Yeah, they're going to give him the wave now to go run for Ryan Boland on the 2-out catcher replacement rule. Just keep the game moving. Ryan can go get his gear on and be ready to go when the inning ends.
I like that rule.
It's great for tournament play like this, especially where, everybody's on a schedule and we want to keep the games flowing.
Jordan Pomeroy has a couple of runs batted in. Back in the 5-run bottom of the first, which paved the way for this 8-0 advantage. It'd be exciting to track his future, Blair, in the sport.
Well, he emerged last year with Bear Creek, starting center fielder, hit leadoff most of the year, and really accredited himself well as just the latest out of that St. John's fastball factory that we always talk about. Had a bit of a rough U23 World Tournament. We talked about the lack of offense from the Canadian squad there. It wasn't just Jordan. It was literally everybody in that lineup. But I know he was looking forward to the season with Bear Creek. And there was actually a St. John's Telegram article about that clip going viral. And he said he's had people stopping him in the stores and the streets at home in Newfoundland because literally everybody has seen that clip now.
Just absolutely incredible catch he made last weekend in Mitchell, Ontario. I get the sense this guy is going to be an outstanding player for a long time. In fact, I could see him patrolling center field for many years for the national team.
Well, he was in contention right up until the final decisions were made. And to your point, I don't think there's any doubt that he'll be a part of the team on a go-forward basis.
He's just 23 years old.
Third baseman, number 3, Brandon Horn.
So a walk for Pomeroy that loads the bases with this 8-0 advantage. And Mr. Horn has had a successful day. He's 2 for 2. He looks like he's in great shape.
Well, it's not just the loss that could hurt the Batmen here, assuming that we don't have a miraculous comeback, but it's the runs against here, too, that's going to hurt them in the standings, because the tiebreakers are, first they're going to look at runs against, and an 8 spot and counting.
Horn pops it up. Good call off to end the inning. 2 more in the books for Bear Creek as they've extended their lead to 8 and will have a chance to end it in the top of the 5th here on Softball Premier TV. A defensive change as Dallas Cornelius stays in the game. Moves to third from his designated player spot. Brandon Horn out of the game as Denny Benson.
Fielder, number 19, Denny Benson.
The Batmen need a couple to keep it alive. And Sean Cleary, I'm guessing, not interested in extending it any further. He's given up a couple of hits in the game. I would say a very workmanlike effort for Sean.
I was literally just thinking the same thing, that he has done exactly what he's needed to do. He's got half a dozen strikeouts through 4 innings here, top of the 5th, just a couple of hits, and just kind of a typical Sean Cleary outing. Nobody's squared him up.
Some rain falling again here. It's been intermittent or something like that. It was supposed to come out a little differently, but with me that can happen.
Well, this is a typical Tuesday night in Newfoundland, I think, for Sean and Ryan. Just a little bit of drizzle to play in.
Is there ever a real typical night in Newfoundland? You spend any time on George Street?
Yes, I have been down there a couple of times. For ball a couple of times, and corporately once, and one of my favorite places to visit in all of Canada.
It is just fabulous. Haven't been for a long time now. When I was calling games at Sportsnet Television, in the American Hockey League in the mid-2000s. It was great because I'd make 1 or 2 trips to St. John's a year. In fact, that's where I was, Blair, when the terrible day occurred in 2001.
Oh, boy.
9/11. I was in St. John's, Newfoundland, staying at the hotel, had no idea what was going on, was on my way to cover the Toronto Maple Leafs training camp, which was supposed to be held in St. John's, and walked into the lobby and saw a huge gathering of people. And as I walked towards the TV, the second plane went into the building.
Oh, my goodness. And there would have been a pretty big influx in the population in Newfoundland
It was huge.
over the next few hours.
Not quite like Gander, but I can tell you that every spare room at the hotel, people having a place to stay, and I can't really think of a much more hospitable place for people in need of some comfort. They did a marvelous job. Just made me proud to be a Canadian.
Yeah,
being
absolutely
in that
did.
city, in that part of the world, in the most trying time, at that point, for many of us ever, before COVID came along. But let's get back to softball.
On a lighter note.
Yes, on a much lighter note. But hard not to think about that place without that memory.
Rain continuing to fall, and we're taking some precautions to make sure that all the camera equipment stays dry and our people stay safe. We're going to get Carol off the roof of the dugout as it gets a little too slippery up there. Want to make sure everybody is safe.
There's Sean Cleary trying to put the game away. Isaiah Whetstone, pardon me, struck out his first appearance. Is Cleary up to 5 or 6 strikeouts now by your count?
I have 7.
You have 7? Well, it's close to 5 and 6.
It's in the neighborhood.
It is. Is Bear Creek an out away from upping their record to 2-0, which I would say all but guarantees them a spot in tomorrow's semifinals.
Well, and they will have the 2 toughest teams that they will face. Already games played. Huge win over the New York Gremlins last night.
Yes.
And you don't ever want to sleep on this Toronto BATMEN team, as Hill United found out last weekend. Tough outing for them here. They'll rebound, and we'll see them right back in action here coming up.
Hill United 2-0 in the tournament after their win earlier today. And the Gremlins looking to bounce back from an opening night loss against the Niagara Snappers. They were up 2-1 earlier in that game.
Well, that game's still going on, so they haven't hit the run rule yet, and they may not.
Whetstone will keep it alive. Drills the ball just past Travis Jones out at shortstop for his first hit.
Isaiah Whetstone. The 2 out coming away for the Toronto BATMEN. Catcher, number 2.
As Cleary gives up his 3rd hit of the game. Catcher Derek Hyde steps in. Blair has mentioned on a couple of occasions his bright future in the game. And runs very, very well, which isn't always notorious for catchers.
I have a bit of a standing line with Ryan Boland, which drives Ryan around the bend, that he runs well for a catcher.
It would A lot of things would drive that guy around the bend. And when he gets there, I hope he's happy.
Well, I got to wonder about the grip here. You don't often see Sean Cleary with a miss like that. Yeah, he's looking around for the ball. 7-1 for the New York Gremlins. Just hearing from the Cub reporter, Joe Todd.
It's a good Cub.
The grizzled veteran, Joe Todd. My roomie, my running mate.
Well, I was speaking with Canadian national men's team coach John Stewart, who is here. And we mentioned Blair, and this is just another weekend for me where this sport is just filled with so many wonderful people. It's one of my favorite parts. I love the sport, but such good people in the game. It's back-to-back hits, and Hyde is going to drive in the first Toronto BATMEN run with that base hit to left.
Well, we talked about that in the game last night, and again this morning, in a game full of nice people. There aren't too many bad guys.
No.
In fact, I'm hard pressed to think of any, to be honest. And you know, when we go to the annual Hall of Fame breakfast and induction ceremony, people will talk about the games and the scores a little bit, but what everybody gets up and talks about are the memories that they take from the people that they played with and against. And those times in the beer gardens and the hotels and in between games, that's what people talk about.
It's funny, and being around sports my whole life, both personally and professionally, that never goes away. Even with people making millions and millions of dollars athletically, that always seems to be the case. You know, you hear NHLers all the time talk about missing the room.
Yeah.
It's really about people. In a world where sometimes I feel like we've lost some of that. But not in this sport. It's what makes it great. One of the things that makes it great. And Sean Cleary's been great for a long time.
He's struggling with the grip with the ball here, I think. I think that rain has actually subsided, but whether Sean just can't find the right ball, the right grip right now, because he's gone from filling up the strike zone to filling up the ball side of the ledger.
Well, 8-1 is the score. That finds the outside corner. Up, down, change it. Location. Has pretty much every pitch in his arsenal, wouldn't you say, Blair?
Oh, absolutely. He's got a world-class changeup. The rise ball pops. The drop falls off the table.
That was the rise.
And he's got great pace, too. Sean can break 80 when he needs to. He'll never be the hardest thrower in the game, but you don't need to be the hardest thrower in the game to win. Michael White has the most ISC victories, and he was never the hardest pitcher in the game.
Michael White, now the head coach at the University of Texas. In the women's game. Mitch McKay, swing and a miss. And that will end the ball game. So a commanding 8-1 win for Sean Cleary and the Bear Creek Express. And Blair, the story of this one was bottom of the first when they batted around and scored 5.
Tyler Paulai set the tone early, 2-run home run. Colin Walsh, Travis Jones picking up base hits, Kyle Lezical, Jordan Pomeroy, the couple of RBIs in the first. And, it was over just like that.
We will take a break. And Blair and that great Cub reporter coming your way next, Joe Todd. My name is Peter Loubardias. So long for now. From the Hill United Chiefs Challenge 2023 from Simcoe.
for the latest in softball innovation. The website where you can experience the best tournaments in the Americas. Live games, news, tournaments, and much, much more. The best quality live softball. On demand so you can watch when you want. Become a Premier member now. SoftballPremierTV.com.